Nobody loves the destruction of the mainstream media, the legacy media, the corporate propaganda media more than I do. It may have taken time, but the corrupt corporate executives who push false narratives for personal and political gain are finally getting what they deserve. We know how Team Trump feels about the mainstream media monster, but I bet you'd be surprised to know that the Harris campaign apparently has a bone to pick with the media now, too. Listen.
I would say, I mean, look, I am not media hater by any measure. And I think that, we women don't get far in life talking about double standards. So that's not the point. But I do think a narrative, 107 days, 2 weeks fucked up because of a hurricane, 2 weeks talking about how she didn't do interviews, which, she was doing plenty, but we were doing in our own way. We had to, be the nominee, had to find a running mate and do a rollout. I mean, there was all these things that you kind of want to factor in. But real people heard in some way that we were not going to have interviews, which was both not true and also so counter to any kind of standard that was put on Trump that I think that was a problem. And then on top of that, we would do an interview, and to Stephanie's point, the questions were small and processy and about
dumb.
They were not informing a voter who was trying to listen to learn more or to understand.
Oh, I see how it goes. Right. So it's the media's fault. The media's fault. The same media that backed that horrific campaign relentlessly is now to blame for Kamala Harris's loss. Well, let's dive in a bit. First of all, you just heard this defeated Harris campaign chair, Jen O'Malley Dillon, complain about the narrative that Kamala didn't take many interviews. Guess what, Jen? She didn't. It wasn't a myth. It wasn't a narrative created by Fox. Americans got to know. We got to know exactly what she was about. We got used to going days without hearing from Kamala Harris, a woman who wanted to be president, in some cases weeks. I remember there was 25 days in a row she didn't speak to a reporter. Yet Trump flew all over America every single day, sometimes appearing in 1, 2, and even 3 states in a day, a couple hours apart. He took every interview offered, routinely answering complex questions that helped him lay out his policies and his overall vision for America. Maybe try that next time you want to win, Jen O'Malley. Another false narrative that O'Malley tried to push. Kamala Harris spent 2 weeks on hurricane relief. Are you kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? Wrong again. In fact, I would even say that she lost a ton of support when she did practically nothing for those very, very damaged, impacted by those horrible, horrible superstorms. If I recall correctly, it was Elon Musk and Donald Trump who delivered for the American people, especially in North Carolina, Georgia, Florida, who were wiped out, decimated. Elon Musk brought Starlink in. If I remember correctly, FEMA, Biden and Harris's FEMA, and Harris is now the de facto president at the time, FEMA was not going to Trump supporters' homes to help out. FEMA was blocking people, citizens, from coming in helping in hurricane-ravaged areas. FEMA was stopping help to get to the people who needed the most. And that was tagged to Kamala Harris and tagged to Democrats who were in power. It's not our illusion. The American people know Kamala did nothing, which in many ways showed us all what we could expect if she were elected to be our next president. We got more of the same. You also just heard that Team Kamala wasn't very happy about the easy questions she got during the few interviews that she actually sat for. Again, this is another self-imposed wound. Kamala Harris is a well-known idiot. She's a moron. I'm sorry. She couldn't handle a complex question if her life depended on it. She couldn't even handle a simple question about inflation. Her campaign unraveled. Her campaign unraveled when a local reporter from Philadelphia asked her about inflation. What are you specifically going to do about inflation? And she said, I'm from a middle-class family, and we have lawns. And then he followed up. Thank God he followed up, because that was when her campaign unraveled. He said, no, but specifically, just give me one example. So specifically, she had nothing. And the world knew what we had been saying from the very get-go. The woman has nothing up here. She's made it to the heights of political success in America on an air ball. or on her personality, or others would say it's other things. I'll just tell you, she is not equipped to be president of the ASPCA, let alone the United States. The most difficult decision she faced as the Democratic nominee was what type of wine she wanted to slam down during her very few campaign-related flights around the country. We all know that Kamala's staff played a major role in the questions that she faced during her interviews. If you guys really wanted more difficult questions, then why didn't you write the damn questions yourself? Because that's what we know people were doing. We now found out that Al Sharpton was paid $1 million for his national NEW network, whatever the hell it is, $1 million before an interview with Kamala Harris as the wannabe president. So the campaign paid a reporter $1 million. What kind of journalism do you think you're going to get out of that? Yellow journalism, bullshit journalism, misinformation, propaganda, paid for propaganda. As you know, I'm all about bringing the truth. This is a truth bomb. It's a bigger truth bomb than usual, but we had to talk about it. With that said, the media alone isn't responsible for Kamala Harris's election loss, but they are certainly on the hook for telling America and Americans that Kamala ever stood a chance.